Please let me know if you can identify with any of these common obstacles that we have here. Can anyone identify with this? Can anyone say, like overeating, craving food, always hungry? Please see. Okay, so I'm seeing some. If we can put in the chat so that I know you're with me. Can you identify with any of these obstacles that might stay in the way sometimes? I already talked about the diet, culture. There's also increased stress. Okay, all right, I'm getting some responses. Okay, food craving. Yes, food craving was a big one that I had, and that was because of what I was eating that was making me crave more food. So these are definitely, so what I'm going to do, let's touch on each of them very quickly, and then I will share those golden tips. Diet. Okay, very good. Thank you all for your engagement in the chat box. So moving along, let's talk about why are we craving food? So when I say food addiction, I don't want you to take it the wrong way. All it means is that you're always thinking of food. You always want food. I used to be there, where before, as I'm eating, I'm already thinking about the next meal, what I'm going to have, so you're always thinking about the food. And the reason, it's not your fault, I promise, is because of the kind of foods that we have and what they put in the food. High sugar, high salt, unhealthy oils, chemicals, additives, all these things, they make you crave more. It's rewarded in your brain. So you want it. So we have to be careful the kind of foods we eat, because if we eat food that is real, that God made, natural food that is not made in the lab, we will not have all those food cravings. So the circle is usually you eat sugar, like me now. I said I was a sweet tooth. You eat sugar, and then you spike up your blood glucose, and then it will crash it down, and then you want more. So that's a vicious cycle that tends to happen. All right. And it happens in the brain. That's why I said it's not your fault, and, blaming yourself and thinking, oh goodness, I can never lose weight. I can never be healthy. No, you can. You just need to know the right tips, golden tips to stay healthy. They target different ages. The advertisement is there. It's available everywhere. I don't know if it's the same thing too in Nigeria. In the US, even if you go to the library now, there's candy everywhere. You go to the gas station, it's right by your face. When you go to work, people bring donuts, all sorts of things. It's everywhere. And of course, the unhealthy things are affordable. So this pretty much what is going on. It all is in the brain center, the reward system. It's actually likened now to cocaine, that the way cocaine actually lights up the brain is the same way sugar lights up the brain. So it's already registered that sweet taste. So you always feel like you have to have it. Now, the diet cycle is also the same thing. When you lose weight, unfortunately, when you lose weight, you're not just losing water weight, you're losing muscle. And if you lose muscle, muscle is what helps you increase your metabolism. But if you've lost muscle through dieting, then you're not going to have anything to help you burn any calories. Let's talk about hormones. I know hormones is a big one for women, right? You're like, one day you're hot, one day you're cold, one day you're craving food too much, you're eating too much. So these are the big hormones that I want us to pay attention to. The insulin is the one that has to do with the sugar, with diabetes. If we're eating the wrong food, or we're eating excessive, or we're just continuously eating, you will never give our insulin a break. So there's never a downtime. And if we're not sleeping, you'll soon find out that when we don't sleep, this hormone right here, the one on the top of insulin, is affected. And what this hormone does is that it makes us feel very hungry. So the ghrelin is G for ghrelin, like your tummy is grumbling and all of that. If you're not sleeping, that hormone is high in amount. Same thing with cortisol. Cortisol is a stress hormone. Are we familiar with stress hormone? Have we heard about stress hormone before? The cortisol? Yes, is that a familiar hormone?
No.
No? Okay. So cortisol, when we are overly stressed, when we're doing too much, when we don't take time to care for ourselves, that is the hormone that increases in high amount and unfortunately damages our vessels. It damages the vessels because let me tell you something about the cortisol. We are naturally supposed to have cortisol, okay? Because what cortisol does is it tells us, action. Oh yeah, get ready, do what you need to do. That is normal. Like maybe if something comes here now and we all want to run away, it gets you activated, right? But it's not supposed to stay high all the time. But that's what happens with all of us because we're overly, we're always moving and running and not taking time for break or not sleeping well enough. The cortisol stays high over a long period of time. So it's like if you have a guest and your guest tells you they're only here for a week and then they stay 2 or 3 weeks, what do you think is going to happen? You begin to, also, I mean, you enjoy the sweet, the 1 week old, but now it's becoming 2 weeks, it's coming 3 weeks, 4 weeks. That's the same thing with cortisol. If our cortisol consistently stays up high, that is where we have the problem. And then they've measured people that are, like high achieving women, which there's nothing wrong with being a high achieving woman, but we need to be able to balance it. When a study where they measured their cortisol, it was so high, it was 3-4 times the higher the normal level and caused a lot of the problems that the individual had. They had blood pressure problems, they had, brain issue because cortisol in the brain just tires the brain. So let's move from here and talk about the other aspects, which we tend to have inflammation. This is what I had with my joints. So again, 50% of it, I did say that we have a family history of joint issues. My aunts have had knee replacement, hip replacement. My mom also arthritis, but thank God is healing now because we're doing the right things. And so when it comes to inflammation just means what your body doesn't understand as food, right? So it forms inflammation. It forms it's fighting it off, but it deposits in your joint, it deposits in different places. And some of the foods, of course, are the ones that you see right there, the same culprits that I talked about, high unhealthy oils, fats, and all of that. So I wanted to make sure that I go through this so that you're aware of the background, you understand the science behind it, so that when you are making those changes, little changes, you know where to start. This has to do with the gut. Now, let me tell you something that is very interesting about the gut. Now, this is something that I learned in addition from the, lifestyle medicine. This is not what they typically would teach you in medical school. Again, they don't teach you how to prevent disease. You're just taught how to identify it and give medication to take care of it. So the gut, that is where all these functions take place. Our immunity takes place there because of the bacteria cells that are there. It also helps with our mood because it produces serotonin, and that is a mood regulator. It also helps with our skin, blood. So there's a lot of things that happen in the gut. So the gut is the powerhouse. It's just like the brain, right? But it's also, they say it's the second brain. The gut is the second brain. So we need to feed it what it needs. So again, you've heard all the problems, but we want to face solutions. Now, who's ready for solutions? Please just put yes, because you've heard all the issues. We want to move away from that. So let me say, just type in yes if you're ready for some solutions, because I know that's what you're here for. Yes, 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 yes. I'm ready for some solutions too. So where do we start? What are our solutions? How can we address? So I like to, preview the solutions by letting us all know or remind us, because I know that we're women of God here and we all love God and we serve him diligently. I want to remind us that the Bible says that he urges us to offer our bodies as living sacrifices, holy and pleasing to God, right? Which is our spiritual service of worship. God has called each and every one of us for a reason to serve. And unless our body is healthy, no matter how spiritual we are, we're not able to do the things that God has called us for. And a lot of times, and I was guilty too, I wouldn't go to the doctor for many years. I'll take my kids, but I wouldn't have time for myself. And unfortunately, if you don't make time for your wellness, and an unknown author had quoted that you would be forced to take time for your illness. And that's not what we want, right? So what are these tips? I put this acronym together because it helps to remind me, it helps as I educate and empower my community how to live at their finest using these golden tips. So we're going to dive into each of them one by one. And as we dive into them, please, if you have a paper, write what you're doing and what you're going to start doing. So, it might be something, one or two things that I say that you're not doing, and just write it down, take notes of it, because I want it to be an impactful session where you leave here with actionable steps. So the goal definitely is lifestyle medicine. Remember, I mentioned that 50% of us is genetics, what we inherited, but that does not determine the rest of our lives, right? That's not our destiny. Our destiny is the remaining 50, which we can use to influence the genetics. So when we talk about lifestyle, we're getting to the root cause of issues. So we're not just looking at the symptoms like I'm having headache, I'm having a rash, I'm having belly pain. What is the root cause of the problem? That always helps to prevent you from being on multiple medications. Because guess what happens? If you're on multiple medications, you're just masking the problem. If you're still doing business as usual, right? You can't expect different results if you keep doing the same thing you're doing. I'm sure we've heard of that adage before. So fitness is definitely one, which is the F part of finest. So how do we stay moving, right? We have to move. And I know some people don't like the word exercise. It sounds scary, but really it's just moving. So how do we exercise smarter and not harder? Interaction, like we're all here together. It's great. It really helps our mental health. Nutrition, I'm going to dive into nutrition. Enrichment is lifelong learning. Definitely being here, we learn about our spirit, soul, and body. The S part of finest is sleep and the substance abuse, which could be very well alcohol. And then the last word alphabet is definitely the T, which is take care of yourself. So are we ready to make some small steps? These small steps are the ones that will make these big changes. We're not expecting miracles overnight. Yes? All right, very good. I'm hearing yes, so thank you. I'm ready. Very good. So let's get started. Let's talk about the first thing, which is fitness. All right, so again, I'm sure we've all heard about exercise, why it's beneficial for us. It's so beneficial for us for our mental sanity, for our muscle. Did you know that for those that are 30 and above, I've been one of them, you begin to lose muscle strength as you age. From 30, you begin to lose. So you could just, I mean, there are people, my patients will tell me, but I haven't done anything different. The only different thing is you're aging. So as you're aging, you need to begin to work those muscles because you're going to naturally lose muscle. So you need to do that. So exercise benefits your muscle, it strengthens your bone, it reduces stress. This was how I was able to actually get my blood pressure under control and get off the 3 blood pressure medicine. This was about 14 years ago. I went walking for 20 minutes. That was all. I wasn't even fast paced, nothing like that. It was just walking. It released my stress. I had to dedicate the time. My baby at the time, I was like, okay, found somebody in the church that will help me watch her for 20 minutes. I would say 20 minutes, spirit. That was it. It was 20 minutes. And I did that. And within a month, my blood pressure started coming down. This is after being on 3 blood pressure medicines for over 2 months and nothing, it didn't move it. So we need to get to the cause of what the issue is. So exercise could be Zumba, it could be dancing, it could be whatever you would like for it to be, but it needs to be consistent. It's not the way. Well, for me, when I used to exercise, I used to think, I ate a donut. I need to exercise 2 hours to burn the donut. Exercise is not punishment. It should not be because you're trying to burn a calorie. Do it for your mental health, do it for your bones, do it for your bone structure, do it so that you can sleep better at night. You see all the different benefits there. So the question I usually get asked is, how often should I exercise? Well, the recommendation by the American Heart Association here is that 30 minutes, 5 days a week of moderate intensity. So I know we're all busy women. We all just need to figure out within our schedule, when can I fit in 30 minutes, 5 days a week? And it doesn't also have to be 30 minutes all together. You can do maybe 10 minutes, but generally we need to be active. If you have a desk job, get up, walk around, find things that you can do. So those are some ideas. Strength training, very important because you want to maintain those muscles. So I'm going to move on so that we can definitely answer questions at the end, but I want to emphasize that please let us move. No matter how busy we are, let's create time for movement. Interaction, it's so important. Social interaction, social connection. And I love that you have this group. We have one as well called Living at Your Finest, a WhatsApp group, and we interact with each other. We encourage each other. You know, I always talk about an aunt of mine that just withdrew and just stayed by herself. You know, it felt like the whole world is crumbling down, and didn't reach out to anybody. Wonderful Christian, beautiful lady, but a lot of things, life got in the way, which of course life gets in the way with all of us, but she just withdrew, and slowly depression kicked in, because you know the idle man is the devil's workshop, and she passed. I could not believe when I heard she passed. I was like, how is that possible for somebody to die of depression? It's very possible, because the body begins to crumble. It's not, the cortisol is in high amounts. I remember I said cortisol can be very damaging, even though it's a good hormone, but if it's in excess amount, can be damaging. So I want you to you know, just reflect on some of these quotes that I have here, like Mother Teresa. I alone cannot change the world, but I can cast a stone across the waters to create many ripples. And so I know that all of you are already doing this. Continue to do this, continue to form social connections, but now it has to be meaningful social connections, right? Not one that will give you added stress. All right, nutrition. This is the foundation of it all, nutrition. We are what we eat. And what I want to emphasize here is we need to emphasize foods that give life, right? Food that give life. Now, again, I told you that I'm a sweet tooth, so chin chin, puff puff, all of those, I have affinity for them, but I've since learned that if I want to stay healthy and off medication, I would have to eat it. The question is, what is moderation? If I know that just eating it is going to take me down a slippery slope, I've made path with how, you know, just keeping it out of the house, because out of mind is out of sight. What we need to emphasize is healthy fats. So those are some examples of healthy fats. So we have avocado, we have like the salmons, we have nuts and seeds. We definitely want to eat a lot of veggies and fruits. Those are important. Veggies and our fruits give us the minerals and the vitamins that the body recognizes as food. So if you feed your body well, it will treat you well. So the unhealthy foods, it might taste good, but it does your body no good, right? So we need to focus more on proteins. Our protein, a lot of times, you know, we hear, well, protein is only in animal products, beef, pork, you know, eggs and all of those, but you can actually have a lot of protein in plant foods. So things like beans, that I know we have our beans, you know, legumes. I don't know if we have that back at home. I definitely would like to hear from you about that, but there are lots of protein in plants, and there are some veggies that actually have protein as well. So takeaway message, we need to stay hydrated, drinking water, cut back on the sugar, because when we take too much sugar, you're putting too much stress on your body's insulin, and it will just say, you know what, I give up. I can't even do anything anymore. I can't keep up with how much sugar is coming in. So that's very important about the nutrition. Now, this slide here is so that you see how, when you eat fruits and veggies, how it fills your tummy. Has anyone seen this slide before? Let me just make sure. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Has anyone seen this slide before? Are you aware that when you eat, you know, our foods, I'm very familiar with how we cook at home with oil. You know, the oil has to be on top, you know, like cover the whole food. So I'm quite familiar with that. But look at how the oil, see the oil. That's why you're still hungry after you eat all of that, because it didn't even stretch the tummy. But look at cheese, look at meats, look at potato and rice, and then look at fruits and veggies. So that's why we always say, thank you so much for the response and the feedback in the chat box. That's why we have to eat fruits and veggies. I'm telling you, if we can just prioritize our fruits and veggies first before we sit down and eat our rice and all the other things, we'll be full. But if we're eating meats and all of that, it doesn't stretch our tummy enough. You would have to eat 3 or 4 times the calorie for it to be stretched. And by then, you've added on the extra calories that your body has said, okay, Otito, you're done eating. And then what happens with the remaining calories? It stores as fat. So again, at home, we have a wedu, What other veggies do we have back at home? Spinach, whatever it is that we have that is veggies, you know, and our fruits, whether it's our local fruit, whatever it is, let's try and eat those. Beans also has, you can see that beans fills more, right? Rice. So let's focus more on those. And then we have to eat healthier oils. All right, very good. So we're going to wrap up with nutrition. I want to end by saying, let thy food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. If you're not somebody that wants to keep up with all the side effects that come from medicine, from pharmaceutical medication, then you want to emphasize food. You want to eat proper food, okay? If your diet is wrong, medicine is of no use. But if your diet is correct, medicine is of no need. So you're going to pay somewhere. You're either going to pay the pharmacy or you're going to pay the farm. Which one do you want to pay? And people sometimes will say, well, it's expensive to eat healthy. But okay, when you fall sick, God forbid, we won't fall sick. Yeah, so I will talk about the identify healthy oils. Yeah, so olive oil, definitely. Olive oil is a healthy oil. Thank you for that question. Avocado oils, those are better oils. All the other oils, like vegetable oils, they're inflammatory. They cause a lot of inflammation. Remember what I said happens with inflammation? The body doesn't recognize it as real food. So yes, I know it's expensive. When I started buying olive oil in the US, I was like, what is this? This is so expensive, because I used to use canola oil and vegetable oil. But when I needed my health back, when I didn't want to be sleeping off on the highway, I had to practically call my mom when I was on the highway, when I was going to work. Because anytime I was driving, I would just be dozing off. I'll be sleeping. So I realized it's quality over quantity. So when I said, you remember I said we don't need oil to be flying all over the whole pot of soup, just a little oil. So that's what I've taken. I know it's expensive, but you just need little, because 1 teaspoon of olive oil is about 130 calories, and it's dense. You know, even though it's healthy, it does have a lot of calories. So, you know, nutrition on its own is a whole presentation. So, but definitely it's quality over quantity. All right, so we're coming to the tail end. Enrichment, it's all about mindset, right? Yes, please have your questions ready. Yeah, that's a good one. Soya oil. I don't know what is in that. What is that oil? I am not sure. Can you tell me what is in that oil? Palm oil. I know there's been a lot of science behind palm oil having a lot of saturated fat. So when we talk about oil that glues, so whenever you have like palm oil, canola oil, trans oil, they actually form like glue. So if they glue in your blood vessels, the blood cannot flow properly. I still have palm oil in my house, and I promise you, I will just take it, like if I'm doing porridge or if I'm doing making beans, I just put just a little, not plenty where, you know, it's just overflowing. So, but palm oil is one of those saturated fat oils that you want to, you know, reduce the amounts. Now, back to the mindset question. Mindset is so important. Unless, you see, you're all open, and that's great. So you have to be flexible. You have to open your mind. You have to, you know, do the research and know for yourself what works for you. So that's the E part of, you know, one of those golden tips, that you have to make sure that you build that mindset where you know what works and what your body needs. And so that would be very important. You have to do the research, ask the questions. All right. So I think I see another question in the chat box. Let me see, what does it say? Is supplement a medicine? So it depends on what supplement you're getting, because again, if it's anything like the US, oh my goodness, there are thousands of supplements, and most of them are even fake, because the FDA, which is the organization that regulates medication, they don't regulate what is in there, if it is really true or not. So the supplements that I do recommend is definitely vitamin D, because as we get older, if you're not spending enough time in the sun, and the food, the soil is not as fortified as it should. Definitely, you know, the vitamin D is one of them. And sometimes, you know, vitamin C, although I prefer to have that in my meals. So let's talk about sleep, and we'll talk more about supplements, which supplements. Sometimes here we get the 1 a day, which is a combination of multiple minerals. But first and foremost, it's called supplement for a reason. You should eat the real food and then supplement it with a supplement. All right, so sleep, very important. And this is an area that even myself, I struggled with for many years, especially when we have a lot to do. We have businesses we're running, entrepreneurs. I know there are a lot of entrepreneurs here. We might, kind of put sleep to the corner and try to catch up on work. But please, I beseech you not to try your best not to do that on a continuous basis, because look at this diagram. Sleep affects your memory over a long period of time. When we sleep, what it does is that it helps to repair our thought process. It helps to clear up all the junk. That's why people that have they call it Alzheimer's, dementia, it's a year of accumulation of just junk that never got cleared during sleep. So when you sleep, you clear all that junk, your mood is better, your hormones are better regulated, you have less cortisol. And what's the recommendation? It's 7 to 9 hours. Now, of course, the 8 to 9 is a little bit stretched, right? So I usually am like 7 hours and 30 minutes, 7.5. So somewhere around there. Anything less than that, your body is not getting into the place where it needs to sufficiently heal and repair your body and your joints and everything. Did you know that while you're sleeping, growth hormone is activated? And what does growth hormone do? It helps to consolidate all the things that you've learned during the day and sort it out. But if you're not sleeping, then you're not going to get that. Now, I know that there are times that we do vigil. You have to be mindful of what time you're doing your vigil. The science shows that between 10 and 2 a.m., that's where you have your highest peak of growth hormone. And again, as I mentioned, the growth hormone helps with just all the healing processes. Your immune system also grows during that period. So please, sleep is a golden tip here. And then let's talk about some of the things you can do to help you sleep. Always have a routine. For me, because my mind is always busy, I feel that when my kids are in bed, that's when it's very, very quiet and I can do what I need to do. But it was backfiring on me. I was falling sick. I was driving. I wasn't showing up at my best. So I had to change that. And how I was able to change that is I needed to create a routine of when I'm going to sleep and create that environment. So 3 main things if you want to make sure that you're sleeping good. It has to be quiet, it has to be dark, right? And it has to be cool. So, especially for women that were in perimenopausal or menopausal, we could be sweating here and there. You have to make sure the room is as cool as possible. All right. So those are the 3 main things. Make sure you're not drinking caffeine late at night or drinking a glass of wine. Make sure you don't have TV and screen lights on, because our bodies are naturally made to sleep through the hormone called melatonin. But if we block it, it's a very sensitive hormone. It's like God, God says, the Holy Spirit, if he tells you and tells you and tells you and you're not answering him, he'll just withdraw. Same thing with melatonin. It's very gentle. If it's time to sleep, and you have all these distractions, the melatonin will just wipe away. So many people, my patients tell me, I also will just stay in bed, tossing and tossing. It's because you're doing things that is keeping your body from sleeping. So please identify something, write it down that you see on this list to at least try. So I'm not going to spend so much time here, but I just want to emphasize, the alcohol, because sometimes we drink wine, maybe a glass of wine. I know for this setting, the substance abuse is not going to be an issue, maybe just the wine. Let's just pay attention to how much of it can affect the liver. Or if you have family members that are, involved in any of this, please just encourage them to stop, because over a long period of time, it will affect the liver. And the liver is our detoxification organ. And if the liver is affected, then you cannot detox anything going on. And the last golden tip is take a break, take time for yourself, make yourself a priority. I had to make myself a priority. Everybody in my house, including my husband, I'm like, listen, this is mommy time. This is my time. I am taking it. Unless the house is coming down, and God forbid that's not going to happen, don't bother me, leave me alone. I'm taking time for myself. And that was something I never practiced. So please find some things here that you can do. And it's not just massage, just go for a walk. Do some meditation. I know when we pray, prayer is also part of taking time for yourself. write, journal. I do a lot of journaling, and that helps. It helps actually calm my nerves, because sometimes I could get, really worried and anxious about all the things I need to do, but it's like a brain dump. I put it from my head onto paper. And let me tell you something that is also very good: gratitude journaling. So you thank God for the 3 things, write it down. So I do something called 3, 2, 1. So 3 will be 3 things I'm grateful for, 2 things that I'm looking forward to, and then 1 thing that I can do. So we can only control ourselves, we can't control others. So those are some of the taking time for ourselves. So these are the golden tips so far. And our goal is to approach wellness, right? So please, if you want wellness, just type wellness in the chat box. Let's just see wellness, 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 right? Wellness is what we're striving for, we're trusting the Lord for. Yes, wellness. Wellness, wellness, wellness. Yes, wellness is the goal. That's what we want, and God will give it to us by His grace.
Hello,
so how is everyone feeling now? We're coming to the end. How is everyone feeling? Amen. Wellness, wellness, wellness. Are you feeling excited? Are you feeling hopeful? Or are you overwhelmed? Was it too much? Okay, wellness multiplied. Feeling excited. Okay, very good, very good. Yes, there's a lot of information. I don't want to overwhelm you. I just want to make sure that you get the key points. So thank you. So yeah, so we know the plans that the Lord has for us. It's to prosper us and not to harm us, and to give us hope and a future. That's the word of God concerning each and every one of us. He wants us to be free from sickness, free from stress, and free from sleeplessness. That's the word of God. So we have the power to do it. I want you to know that you're not on this journey alone. So that's why you have a team of women that, we have Pastor Smith there, you have Sister Tolu. We're together. We can heal together. We can walk the path of healing together. And so the question now is, are you ready? And it sounds like you guys are ready. Everything is within your power, and your power is within you. You're capable of doing this. So let's say your hair and you have chronic disease, you have hypertension, diabetes, it's reversible. Lifestyle medicine has been proven to reverse chronic disease. Nobody says you have to stay in it. You just have to change the approach. So where do you start? Where do you start? That's my question. Where do you start? You have to know your why. Why are you doing it? Why do you want to make that? Why do you want this golden tips? You want it because you want to be able to stand up without hunching your back. You want to be able to have all those businesses that can help people, right? Can people write some of their whys? Okay. Why? What are your whys? Because you have to have a strong why. Now, I used to have a why that, okay, I have a reunion coming up and I want to fit into a dress. That's not a strong why, just so that you know. Those used to be, in the days, it used to be one of my whys. Okay. You want to make a lot of impact. Yes, paying the pharmacist is so costly. That's right. Any other whys? Any other whys? Yes. Okay, you want to be 80. You want to be able, you want to live healthy and strong. You want to feel good. That's right. Those are strong whys. So write your whys down. Write your whys down. And then the next thing is you have to set goals. And I'm hoping that as we've been talking, for all those golden tips that I've referred to, you have to make SMART goals. Don't make it too broad and big. So let's say you're somebody that has not been walking, then you're going to say you're going to walk a mile every single day of the week. Just keep it small and simple. And this is where we talk about SMART goals, right? So make it very smart, very specific. What do you want to do? Maybe you want to walk. You have to be very clear about which day you're walking. Look at your schedule. Maybe Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I'm going to start off with 10 minutes. What time of the day. So you want to make it very specific. Okay, so I just placed this here because this is also something you need to do. You need to know where you're at. You need to know your weight. You need to know your waist circumference, because there is a measure that will tell you if you fall under the metabolic syndrome or not. If you haven't been to the doctor recently, you haven't done any screening, you definitely want to do that. You want to look at your nutrition. What kind of things are you eating? We talked about this. So unless you measure it, you won't be able to manage it, right? If you agree with that. So in summary, these are all the things we talked about. fitness. These are all the tips: fitness, fun and energizing, interactions, nutrition, enrichment, sleep, avoid substance abuse, and take time for yourself. So this, I want to end with, I asked the question at the beginning that what is health to you? So health is definitely a complete physical, mental, and social well-being. But the wellness it continuously happens. So when you leave here today, know that, we have different seasons in our lives. You might feel, okay, well, today I'm not feeling too good, depending on what's happened, but the wellness is evolving. It continuously happens. You continue to, improve on it and get better. And it's not all or nothing. So you don't want to ever say, well, I fell off the wagon, it's hopeless, I can't do this. No, you just get back up. If you slip, just keep getting back on again and making sure that you hit all those healthy tips. All right, so I would love for you to stay connected with me. I am active on social media. Thank you all for listening and just being engaged, using the chat box on both Instagram and Facebook. I'm Living at Your Finest. I do have a YouTube channel with more in-depth information on those different categories. So please subscribe and look me up. And I do have a free ebook that is available on my website, Living at Your Finest. So that is it for me. Thank you so much. I don't know if we have some time for questions.
If you have any question.
All right, so I see a question about if your cortisol level is high, how do you know? So it's blood test. It's a blood test to find out if it's high, but you can know as well. The way you would know is based on just if you always feel like you're in a fight or flight mode. So you're always, you always feel hypertensive, you always feel anxious. And it's continuous, it's always happening. So that's what we call a fight or flight mode. So if you don't want to check it, by blood, because it could be pricey. It's not one of those typical blood tests that they will order in the clinic or in the hospital. It's an additional test. So that's how you would know. So it's definitely learning to be calm, to be cool, collected. Deep breathing actually helps to put you in that comfort, calm and relaxed mode. So that's how. Let's see if there was any other questions. There's a lot of interaction in the chat box. That's great. Very good. So back to the supplements that was asked. So yeah, vitamin D is definitely one of them. Zinc. We all know that zinc is good, but the beauty is that, in our leafy greens, there's a lot of zinc in there. So zinc is also another vitamin that one will take. Some people say they like to take B12 because it helps them have energy. But a lot of us, the issue is not that we have deficiency in the vitamin B12, is because we're not sleeping and resting enough. So we need to get to the root cause of the problem and not just mask with medication. All right, is coconut oil okay? So coconut oil is, there's been a lot of controversy about coconut oil. And that's the thing about the nutrition world. Today something is good, tomorrow it's not good. What we found with coconut oil is like palm oil. It does have some great omega-3 acids, which are good for brain health, but too much of it can also be damaging because it's high saturated fats. So when we talk about high saturated fats, we want to have unsaturated fats, and that's where olive oil comes in. So when it's unsaturated, it means that it doesn't glue things as much. So coconut oil, I still use coconut oil, but I just use it in moderation. If you are somebody, so we always encourage to do bake, boil, grill, do that better than frying. But occasionally, if you want to fry, you want to make sure you're frying with a high intensity oil, because once the oil heats up to a state, it can begin to form, reaction that could be damaging for the body over a long period of time. So definitely coconut oil is not something that you want to fry in. So let's see, types of fruits. Okay, so is that a question about types of fruits? I want to make sure I understand the question. Oh, to take in high, okay. So I know this might be a little pricey in Nigeria. It's even pricey here in the US. The berries. So berries have been shown to be very beneficial. It removes all the what we call the end products, all the things like the inflammation in the body. So berries, whether it's strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, apples are good, oranges are good, mango, although mango has a high sugar content, and pineapple, but guess what? It's still better than eating cookie and all those candies and stuff like that. So those, so anytime anyone, you know, we get asked the questions about which fruits are really good, the berries, even banana is also good because they have fiber. Fiber is what we're trying to emphasize when we talk about eating fruits and veggies, because it has high content fiber. Remember the picture about the fruit, right? How it expands the stomach. So those are the ones that are really good. Which ones are your favorite? I think this was Sister Olabisi that asked this question. So I was throwing back the question to Sister Olabisi, but probably what you were trying to ask was about sugar, diabetes, because diabetes, that's where people get afraid and they don't want to eat too much fruit because people tell them fruits will increase your sugar, but that's natural fruit. That is God-made fruit. It's not engineered sugar. So that actually does not have a high impact like the sugar that you have in the candies and all the other things. But of course, having said that, there are some fruits that have high sugar content compared to fruits that have lower sugar content. So the ones that I listed, the berries, the bananas, orange, apple, they have less sugar content. The ones that have high sugar content would be things like mango and pineapple. But again, if you eat portion size and you're not overeating, you'll be fine. Is lack of vitamin B12 the cause of NINGS? Yeah, so there's so many reasons for the cause of needles and pins. Yes, it is one of the causes because B12 actually helps with our brain, with the neurons, right? It heals the neurons. So everything in our body, let's just look at our body as a machine. This is a machine that God created. We're made in his own image, but it needs healthy food to sustain itself. So if the neurons are not being fed healthy foods and all it has is sugar, soda, juices, I think it was 5 Alive that I used to enjoy drinking a lot back at home, it's not going to heal properly. So it's damaging the vessels. Another thing that can cause needles and pins are diabetes, because diabetes is high sugar content in the bloodstream. So imagine a sewage system that is clogged up with sugar. The sugar is supposed to go to the organs and help to give energy, right? But it's in the bloodstream. So it's causing obstruction. So you won't be able to get sensation properly. And of course, if the bloodstream is thickened with blood, then you won't get proper flow of oxygen and all the nutrients. So it could be that. There's so many other reasons. Yes. How healthy is yogurt, especially sweetened yogurt? Yes, that's a good one. I've been tricked by that so many times. Sugar, they add sugar to those yogurts. So they take something that is healthy and then they make it unhealthy. So that's why, please be label readers. I don't know. I mean, a lot of the things that are, in the stores, I guess in Nigeria, they come from other developed countries. Please read the labels. I do have a video on my YouTube channel that talks about how to read labels and how to catch the hidden sugars. What I do now is I take the Greek yogurt, the one that is not sweetened with fruit, and I actually put my own fruit. I put my own honey and I put my own fruit. That is 10 times better than having a yogurt that is sweetened with their own stuff. Because some of them have 1 teaspoon of sugar is about 4 grams. So some of them have almost 4 to 5 teaspoons of engineered sugar. So that's the way to go around. If you like yogurt, just, either make yours or buy the plain one and put your own fruit in it. Okay. All right, then. I think I covered, there's a question about, well, no, I haven't heard about that. Not taking banana while taking antihypertensives. No, I haven't heard that. And I don't see why that would be the case. So you see, again, that was why golden tips for staying healthy is enrichment. We have to enrich our mind, follow the science. I have not heard about banana being a problem with antihypertensive. It's when high blood pressure, that comes about from high salt, when you eat a lot of salty foods, stress, anything that damages the vessel. Bananas is healing. It has fiber, it has potassium to help with the muscles. So I don't see how, oh, I see. I think probably because of the potassium, right? Because of the potassium. Well, no, if you're eating just one banana a day, that's not going to cause any problem. Yes, that's the best natural sweetener. Yes, Sister Joy, thank you for that. Stevia. So please stay away from Splendor, Equal, all those other ones. They are additives and preservatives that will affect your gut. Remember, we talked about gut health. The gut has to stay healthy. So yes, stevia is definitely one of the better ones. And this honey is also a good one. Yeah, stay away from MSG. MSG is chemicals. It's going to cause a lot of problem. I had a patient that Indomine, and I know a lot of you are going to get upset with me here now because I see Indomine. Indomine is one of our favorite foods. I ate Indomine growing up, so I get it. But Indomine is the sachet. It has MSG, and MSG causes a lot of problems in the GI tract. So it's a chemical that your body doesn't need. The body doesn't recognize it as food. It gets in the body, it forms inflammation, and it's deposited in different areas of the body. So you want to, what would you advise we detox with and how often? So yeah, when it comes to detoxification, I know there's a lot of, companies and diet companies that talk about detox. Our body naturally, the liver, if we're eating the proper way, our liver will do its own natural work and detox. Fruits and veggies are very good for detox. Staying hydrated and drinking water helps you to detox. Other things that I say though, every night a lemon, morning and night, and then apple cider vinegar. I use that to just help flush things out. So those would be things I would say. In the past, I used to spend so much money on buying all these things that people put together, but if you're still going to go back to eating things as usual, you're just wasting money and you're wasting time and energy. So again, we really have to be smarter with the way we work and the way we try to heal our bodies than trying to fall for every single thing. If we, by the grace of God, if we learn the little things that we can do to detox our body, we can do it naturally. Memory loss. So yeah, memory loss, it depends on what's going on with you. The main thing I would say is definitely the brain. We have to feed it foods that are nutritious for it, because for it to work, you have to feed it food that is nutritious. And things like, our fruits and our veggies are very, very good for the brain. We need to sleep. Sleep is so important. So I don't know how many hours you're getting right now, but you need to make sure you're having quality sleep, because it's while you're sleeping that your brain is clearing, doing the repair and doing the flushing out of plaques, right? Exercise is fantastic. Blood flows, pumps to the brain, walking, doing something different, doing something new, a new task, learning a new hobby. That definitely helps with memory. So some people, I usually encourage puzzle. I had an older patient. She was actually, she wasn't even, I think she was 72. And all she did, just started sleeping better, got a puzzle book, started doing something different to stimulate new neurons, and she was fine. Initially, she had said they had diagnosed her with dementia, but after doing these new changes, she was doing very well. Now, again, there are periods that we will forget things here and there, but depending on how busy and sleepy we are. But if it continuously happens, that's the red flag. So you definitely need to address that. All right, so I hope that was helpful. I think we've gotten to an hour now. I'm going to hand over to the moderator. I think that was Sister.
Thank you so much,
Okay.
ma'am. Thank you, Professor Babalola.
You're
It's a
welcome.
wow. A lot of information has been given to us. And I'm very sure if we keep at it, we will get the best of health that we desire. Thank you
Amen.
so much. Thank you so much. God bless you.
God bless
Thanks
you
to
too.
our thanks to our guests. There are people on this training tonight that are not part of One Heart for Women, but they are here to learn from you, Prof. And I'm sure everyone has learned one or two things that they will add to their routine so that we can all remain healthy, because that is the main goal. Thank you so much again. Thanks to every participant. Some of the questions were not answered, but I'm sure that we'll probably display your phone number on our group so that people can private chat you if they really need to get back to you on some of these things. Thank you so much, ma.
All right.
And thank you, Pastor Mrs. Tino Smith. That's our big mama on the platform. Thanks for all the impacts you make in our lives. Thanks for bringing this to us. We are grateful to you and we are grateful to God, because this is a very important part of our lives. It's a golden 1 hour and I'm so grateful I'm part of this. And we have come to the end of our training. I don't know, Mrs. Tino Smith, is she there? I'm not
Hello?
sure she can hear
I
me.
am here.
I don't know.
Hello.
Okay, are you there? Okay, I want to say one or two things. And
Yeah.
on behalf of the group, help us to appreciate her
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. Babs, Professor Babs. Thank you so much. It was really, really, really an insightful session. And I want to say very, very big thank you to you for, giving us out of your time and really, really coming down to our level to answer our questions and really make things clear to us. I really enjoyed the class, and I'm sure everyone, here also enjoyed the class. There's no way you will join this class today that you will not take one or two things away from here. And so we're really, really grateful. Thank you for all you've done for us. Thank you for the time you spent. And I want to say thank you also to all the women that have joined. Let's take good care of ourselves. Let's, because whatever it is we are doing now, as we are getting older, we'll get our results. The results will start showing if we are not living healthy. So let's just, try and improve on our health and make better choices with our diet. God bless us all for joining. Thank you. I think I'll hand over to Tolu Alade if she has anything to say. Thank you, Professor.
No, ma, I have nothing to say. I just want to say a big thank you to Professor Babs. Thank you for the honor. God will honor you in return in Jesus' name. Thank you for the wonderful session, very insightful and educative. It feels like you should just go on and on. Thank you, ma. God bless you.
Okay, in the absence of all, we would like to say good night to everyone. And if you would like to join One Art for Women, if you are here and you are not part of the group, please do reach out to myself or to Lua Aladi. We'll definitely add you to the group. We support one another, we encourage one another, and we do things like this: health, marriage, every area of life that borders women. Generally we try and touch those areas, and God is helping us with our businesses and everything. It's been testimony all around throughout this year. So you're welcome to the group if you are willing to join. Thank you. God bless everybody. So lovely night rest to everyone. Let's have a beautiful night.
Thank you.
Yeah, good night. Yeah.